Hey guys, Jared here. I just thought that before I really get super far into my AJATT journey, I'd like to do sort of a preliminary, I don't want to call it a progress video, but just sort of my current study methods and what I plan to do, as well as my long-term goals. Hello, it is me from the future. I just want to say, before we get into everything, don't be intimidated by the video length. The last half hour is me just yapping in Japanese, reading articles and then also practicing output. So if that's not interesting to you, or you just don't really want to waste your time watching that, then that's just 30 minutes shaved off. I'm actually gonna put timestamps up here too. So if there's just a specific part of this video that appeals to you and you don't want to sit through the whole thing, you can just click over there, get that information, and then just dip. That's totally fine. So just on the screen, if it looks interesting to you, go ahead and go to that part. But yeah, enjoy the video. So yeah, I've been AJATting for about a month now. I actually tried it a while ago and kind of quit because I went about it a really unhealthy way and it really tired me out. So I'm just kind of here today to talk about my current approach, and maybe hopefully it can be useful to you guys in terms of staying motivated, as well as maybe you find it useful for your own study methods. So yeah, I think first I'll start off talking about what I've studied so far to get to a sort of base foundation understanding of Japanese. So yeah, I started off with the duality of man, as everyone knows, right? The iconic Genki 1. Really good book. Really good. I definitely recommend it. Genki 1 and 2. And then I also did Tobita, Gateway to Advanced. Also a good book. And then I was like, cool, I need to pass some exams. I need to pass JLPT. So I got this book. And as you can see, from the front, I got so far in this book, man. I got so far. And then came the week before JLPT N2. I got this. And I grinded in. I watched a bunch of Nihongo no Mori videos, which are actually pretty good. And they're actually taught in Japanese, which is kind of nice. But it's not made for natives, so it's technically not native Japanese, but whatever, right? I digress. So yeah, did all those books. I also did Nihongo So Matome for kanji and bunpo. Yeah, they're under my monitors now to keep them boosted up at the right level. So that probably tells you how much I went through them. I probably got halfway and then kind of gave up. Let's just say hypothetically, just for the sake of this video, kaidan, right? So this means stairs. 高さの違う、場所へ行くための、段になった、通路. Right, so like a passageway that's made for the sake of getting to a place with a different elevation. So that's cool. So here's my process, right? Let's say I didn't like this definition. I have Colibri, which is a really cool app, and there's this very popular form, or I guess common form of dictionaries called EP Wing for Japanese dictionaries, and this application lets you import them and read them, which is really nice. I like it. And so yeah, so we'll look up kaidan. I cannot type. Kaidan. Okay, cool. Yeah, zoom in a bit. So, yeah, this is actually pretty similar definitions here. So, I do like this. And what's cool is this word, kotonaru. Kotonaru is different, I guess, differing. And I actually been wanting to learn this word, or I guess internalize it. So maybe I'd use this definition, right? Because it has a word that I know, but it's not really acquired yet. So what I do is I do Control C, and what that does is it'll put what's in my clipboard into Anki, because I get to choose any definition I like, right? So we'll go back to Chrome, and then we'll say, okay, add that word, and then let's go look at our Anki card. Okay, so we got the word, got our sentence it's in, nice. Definition that was in my clipboard. Screenshot of the article, frequency, as well as the entire definition, because I like the first line. These look cool. I like to put this, I programmed to put this above my definition, so it kind of looks, I'll show you what the card looks like. So we have the sentence on the front, and then we have the frequency, the first line of the definition, as well as mine. And then if we want, we can show the screenshot that I took it from. Yeah. Another thing is, I've been getting into working on my pitch accent lately, and it's not terrible. I would honestly say if you don't actually study it, you probably guess 80 to 90% of the pitches right, just because if you listen enough, you kind of know. But I've been studying a bit more explicitly for words I don't know. So I'll show you this. NHK add-on, really useful. Just look up the pitch accent of entire sentences at once. So my process is I'll take a screenshot of this because for some reason you can't edit the card while this is open. Like I'll try to click, right? I take a screenshot and then it's just chilling here, right? We just kind of look at that bad boy. And yeah. So we have tatemono. And so there's actually 2 different forms. I guess really quick, I'll explain if you don't know the 4 different patterns for pitch accents. So we have atamadaka, which is the front of the word is high. And if you can probably tell, atama, head, taka, or atamadaka, high, right? So the head of the word is high. And then we have odaka, which is the tail of the word is high. And then it goes back down. So it's like, I guess you could say, hashi o tatemashita, right? I built a bridge. Hashi o. Right, so it goes back down, and then we'll bring it on to the next one is heiban, which goes up and stays up. So back in the example, これは花です, 花です, right? This is a flower. You don't say これは花です, 花です. You say これは花です. So that's heiban, and then nakadaka is the middle stall, which you can actually see right here. Tatemono, it goes up, and then for a variable amount of time stays the same, and then it drops down before the word ends. So yeah, so and then it's kind of up to you. Like you can see there's 2 patterns. They're both nakadaka, so it doesn't really matter. You'd be right either way to pronounce it. Tatemono or tatemono. Yes. So yeah, I have a plugin where I have 4 buttons and it'll assign a color to the highlighted text. I have 4 different colors and they're assigned each to the different pitch accent patterns. So I'll go through this. So we have soto. So that is, the head is high. So atamadaka. I use red because it's like super aggressive. Like it's like if you yelled at someone, your voice is like, it starts loud and goes quieter. And it's, you think of like red or aggressive, right? And then we have aoiro. So this is heiban. We can see it kind of chills at the end of the word. And also the number 0. I was trying to look at like only the numbers to see what it means, and I was getting really confused. So what helped me is like 0, it never goes down. It'll stay flat. And then any other number, it just tells you which more it drops off on. Which is more is just literally it's almost like a syllable for Japanese words, right? Okay, and then we have kaidan. And so this is also heiban, so we can see it doesn't go down at all. So kaidan, it also means the particle following is the same pitch. So if I say, we'll just read what we have so far. Tatemono no soto ni wa aoiro no kaidan ga, right? Sort of like that. And then aru is also atamadaka, atte. And then iriguchi is heiban. So iriguchi wa, yeah, so that's also flat. And then marui is also flat. So marukute, oranji, oranjiro. Okay, so yeah, this whole thing is actually just heiban as well. Ni naru is natteimasu. Okay, so all together, tatemono no. Here, I'll do my little thing. Okay, so tatemono no soto ni wa aoiro no kaidan ga atte, iriguchi wa marukute oranjiro ni natteimasu. Like that. So that is obviously my pronunciation is probably not how a native would say it because I'm American, but like that is generally that should be the right pitch accent. So I got the pitch right. I just, I think through shadowing you can work on your actual pronunciation of the vowels and voice consonants. But yeah, so then if we go back to how the word looks, this is what I see. So maybe I'll read it aloud to myself first and I'm like, oh, kaidan, yeah, that means stairs. And then I'm like, oh, does it? Oh, look at that picture. There's stairs there. And here's the definition. Cool. I was right. So yeah, that's my process for adding Anki cards. I also have a process for like adding it in games. I do like OCR, like optical character recognition. Their ShareX is really good for that, but I also found recently this really cool application called Game to Text. What I really like about it is this is actually a Chrome window. So you can use Yomi-chan, you can use your web browser like hover dictionaries. So what we'll do is I'll just like really quickly, I've been playing this game a little bit recently. I've been getting into like horror detective games and stuff like that. And so like, they all have a very specific set of vocabulary. So I've been like just like binge playing the same genre of games. And it's really cool because like you get a lot of those aha moments. If you like specifically for horror stuff, like you'll see a lot of ghost stuff here, like yurei, kaidan, or stuff like that, right? Or like yokai. And then you see that in other horror anime like Mob Psycho or like even maybe in JJK. And you're like, oh damn, I'm getting better at Japanese. So yeah, let's go ahead and I'll just kind of like do a little demo right here, right? So select my application right here, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure I won't circle anything until some dialogue. I probably make some pop up here about this desk. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So yeah, I would just be like, okay, here's where it pops up. And yeah, there we go. Just want to make sure like the text is right. Yeah, it looks right. Okay. So 傷だらけの机にはあちこちに悪口が掘られている。So there's like this beaten up desk. There's just like a bunch of like bullying or like bad mouthing, bad insults just like engraved into it, right? So yeah, and then in this case, like I'll show you again, just like I did with the NHK article. I can just hover. It's so cool. Like I love this thing, and I'll put a link in the description about this, but it's really nice. Same thing here. Find a definition we like. Awesome. If we don't, Colibri. I'll also put a link to that because this is pretty good. There are a lot of other. There's like Golden Dict and a bunch of other JM Dict I even have. It's all kinds of applications, but this one's been my favorite so far out of the ones I've used. But yeah, it just pops up there. You don't have to do anything. You can just play your game. And if there is a word you don't know, you stop and look at this other window over here, and then I mean you're chilling. Yeah. Another thing would also be the like watching anime. It's the same thing. If you just Yomi-chan or like hover over save sentences from your subtitles, you can do that. I use ASB Player to put subtitles on any video online. So if like the website you're watching doesn't have Japanese subtitles, ASB Player, and I'll show you a little demo right now actually. Okay. So as you can see, there's no subtitles, right? But what I can do is, and I'll put links to resources in the description for you guys as well. So Jimaku, really good website right here. There's literally like every anime. It's so awesome. But yeah, so here we'll go. I have it downloaded already. Here we go. Okay, so this is episode 2. So it's cool. Watch you drag it over. Oh wait, there's a little pop-up. I have to click it first. Some of these websites have ads, so you have to like. There we go. So there it goes. And it just imported them. And then yeah, we'll just go back and make sure it's lined up. There we go. No, let's say you're like, oh, Keikon, that means cop, but like I'm used to Keisatsu. Cool. Then just add it. Here we go. Cool. 6,900 most common. So like that's pretty up there, right? So we'd add that. I didn't copy the definition, actually. I forgot to do that. But this is literally just saying it's like an abbreviation for Keisatsukan, which makes sense. So we'll actually just copy that. So let's just go into our Anki card, and we will fill in that definition. Okay. Preview again, make sure it looks good. Cool, it does. And then there's that screenshot in case we need it. Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's really cool because you can mine from those subtitles. ASB Player, I'll put it in the description as well for you guys because it saved me so much. You can even look here through these if you want to like Control F throughout the whole episode. It's really nice. Let me see if I have any other resources. Subs to SRS. I've been using Morphman a little bit to like see how well I know an anime. Also JPDB is really good. But there are all these like Anki decks that are just every subtitle in the anime just put together with usually with audio and pictures attached. That's really nice. So I'll put a link to this. This is a good way because like I can go into Anki and basically it'll tell me like, let's see if I can do this. Like maybe I want to know how well I know Ishukan Friends, so we can just do this. Let's do custom study and I'll add 3 cards and then it'll skip a bunch because it's already calculated what morphs I know or not. So we'll just go through some of these, and then it should pop up skipping X cards. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, it just kind of takes the morphs I've already known. Really useful Anki add-on. If you're curious, you don't have to though. You can also just use JPDB. I'll put links to all of these guys, so no worries about searching for it on your own. Really sick. I do like it. And then if you want to just be like, oh, I watched Komi-san Can't Communicate. So then we can just say, yeah, okay, cool. So it's like a 4 out of 10. So maybe then you just go like this, max. Let's just do this. So you're like, oh, I want something around that or a little bit harder. Then we can just do 4 and 5, and then get rid of our search and apply filter. Cool. And then look, we have 520. Like you can just kind of scroll through these. It's really nice. You can also see how many like words, unique words it has. The sometimes they'll have like the rating for the anime, which is kind of cool. So this is a good website. Even it does have its own SRS, which is pretty cool. I've been using Anki. I like it. So I'll just kind of use this as a reference to see how hard an anime is that I'm considering watching. But yeah, that's kind of like the sauce, I guess. There's the more common grammar points that you find yourself seeing a lot. Those are the ones that are important and will just kind of stick. If your brain kind of is like, I think that grammar point means something like this, like, then you will have that either confirmed or denied when you come up with it again in a different context, scenario, or sentence. So yeah, I mean, that's sort of just my mentality. Whenever I see a grammar point that I know I've seen, but I just don't quite get it yet, it used to be like very like discouraging, but now it's more like, oh, I'm improving. I'm seeing words multiple times, even at an intermediate stage. This is really inspiring. Eventually, if I learn these words and I see them again, it won't be a problem. It'll be like, they're just my friends, little friends, you know, joining my Japanese journey along the way. So yeah, I mean, that's mainly my my vocabulary and my grammar. And as for reading and kanji, RTK. Let's talk about that, because that's kind of a, I don't know if controversial is the right word, but there are definitely a lot of haters and a lot of people who support it. I think everyone unanimously dislikes RTK too, because you shouldn't be learning to read the kanji in like an isolated like environment. You should learn it in like a natural setting. So let me go ahead and get my my study materials, because yeah. All right, kind of a lot to break down here. Sitting down with this box I definitely did not drop a moment ago. So I've found that like having something physical to like work through books or stuff like really helps me stay dedicated, which is why, you know, when I was recommended RTK by a friend, I looked into it and I thought, you know what, sure, because at this point I was able to read maybe like 1500 kanji, but I was mixing up a lot of ones that looked similar, and I'll put some on screen around me so you can kind of see where my issues were. And because someone described it like learning kanji, it's like seeing a face, and then you just kind of like know what it means or how it's read. I didn't have that. I didn't experience it because I didn't know the radicals. I just kind of looked at it as like a big lump of shapes and lines that roughly made out like this sort of idea, right? So yeah, I started RTK, recommended by a friend, and I love it. So I'll kind of walk you through what I do. First of all, in terms of physical, the first thing is I have these, I might be a little overkill, I don't know, but I have the little notes these things will tell me where I am in the book currently. I mean, yes, I can do it digitally, but it's kind of cool to like, you're like, whoa, look at all this progress I'm making. It's so cool. Yeah, I'm currently, I can't read, hold on. 1887 kanji in. So I have around like 300 more. So I'm doing 20 kanji a day. It is kind of a lot, and I definitely find myself like my retention rate's not that good. But what helps is like while I'm doing this, I'm also reading, I'm playing visual novels, talking to Japanese friends. So I do see a lot of these kanji, and it reinforces it in my head. Like, so like the same day I learn a new kanji, I'll see it, and it's like, whoa, that's like a win. That's so cool. And the next thing I do is after I'm done studying those 20 kanji, I'll write them on flashcards that day, and I'll just put it away in this box, just right here. And then what happens is, 2 days later, I get that deck out that I studied 2 days prior, and I'll go through it, I'll review it, and then, yeah, like just physically, I'll look at the word. So this is building. I wonder what that kanji is. I actually don't know. So 2 days later, do the flashcard, and then 3 days later, aka 5 days after seeing them for the first time in the book, they pop up in my Anki deck. So it's like my own little SRS, and then obviously Anki, it's its own SRS. But yeah, and this is, I'm gonna try to show this without spilling everything. So like this is kind of everything. It's really cool because this started out as a full box of just like blank flashcards, right? And if you probably saw, I'll replay it. When I dropped them and they all spilled out, I'm sure like 90% of them were written on, which is kind of cool, right? Because as you're going through, you're like, dang, I'm almost done. Like, look at this. Like, I'll take some off so you can kind of like actually see. It's like my own little money box, right? Got all these decks. Like, that was all me. It's so inspiring, right? Like, I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm so cool, you guys should be inspired by me. I'm saying it's like I'm inspiring myself. Like, just looking at all this, I'm like, wow, like, these are all kanji I've seen and have, like, somewhat, even if I don't know them, like, I have some sort of an idea. If I saw them, I'd be like, oh, that's familiar. Like, these are all somewhere in my brain right now. Like, that's crazy. And so, like, literally, the last of my cards are, like, right here in the box. And it's just, like, it's so cool. Like, I don't know if you guys are, like, psyched about it as I am, but, like, it's just so, like, wow. Like, that's awesome. So that's my process for kanji, and just getting used to seeing those kanji in compound readings, and then just in different contexts, because a lot of words like have different like meanings, and even like some kanji have different readings based on the context. For example, daku, to hug, right? It can actually also be read as idaku, and it means to harbor like feelings towards something or someone. So like basically, like if you read a sentence and it was like about a girl having a grudge against someone, it looks like daku. It looks like she hugged. Like, if you didn't know like the other like reading or the nuance of it, and you just read it as like, oh, she hugged like a grudge towards him, it's like, what, are you hugging yourself around the feeling and then shooting yourself at him like a cannonball? Like, no. So it's just a lot of rinse and repeat. There's no need to go out of your way to like totally understand on a word by word basis, but just looking it up, putting it in, you know, minding the sentence or saving it if it looks common enough, I think is really helpful. And just, yeah, that's why I recommend like using your frequency dictionaries and stuff like on Yomi-chan, or like Yomi-tan, or Migaku even, like just any of your hover dictionaries if you have one. It's useful to have, because I've definitely, before I had the frequency, I was doubting myself, and like I didn't know how common this word is. There's no way to know, right? If you're learning Japanese, you can't really discern, like, is this word like common enough to learn or not? Because there were cases where after I installed the dictionary and went back and looked at my words, there were some that were like 150,000th most common word. Like, it was bad. Like, Japanese people, even Japanese people, like, you could tell the word if you were a Japanese person because of the kanji and the compound, but like, there's no reason to know it. It's like learning it's like trying to learn specific words like Gojo's like what is it, Muryokusho, or like Sukuna's Fukuwa Mizuchi. I'm kind of getting on a tangent here. So that's what I've done to get to this point in Japanese before AJATT. Yeah, my current study methods. So that's sentence mining, kanji, vocab, grammar, just kind of like finding words in the wild, right? And how I save them. So I think from this point on, my plan is, so this December, I'm going to Japan. And I've been to Japan before, actually, and I got to visit my host family last time I was there, and they're really sweet. And there was like, I've met them 2 times now. Once when I was in high school, and I stayed with them for like a week, and they were so nice. There was like a really good emotional connection, but there was like a really bad language barrier. Like, I literally, my Japanese at that point was like konnichiwa, watashi wa Jared desu, kore wa pen, toire wa doko desu ka, like that, right? But I wanted more. I wanted to actually connect with my host family, and I found like we were all wanting the same thing. We all wanted to be connected and like talk more, but we just couldn't. They didn't know that much English, and I didn't know that much Japanese. So when I came back there last time, I'd studied and I'd taken the N2 for JLPT. I failed it twice, by the way, and I still haven't passed it. I haven't passed any JLPTs. That was my first time taking it. But I could talk a little more, right? I was able to talk about weather. I was able to talk about food. I was able to order in Japanese, and it was like pretty good, because I went through all those textbooks and I did a little bit of AJATT, and it was actually helping. I quit it my first time because I went about it the wrong way, which is why I want to make this video. If you're AJATTing and you're like starting to feel like exhausted or also demotivated, like, I'm there with you, and it's totally fine. But when it comes to like classic Japanese stuff, like, I've tried to read it, and it's like I can't even get a single word out. Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't understand any bit of it. And while it should be like demotivating for me, I think it's actually really motivating to know, like, I'm not going to say I'm fluent in Japanese, obviously. To know that I've come this far in Japanese and there's still so much more, like, awesome stuff to learn is, like, really, like that's crazy. Like, there's so much more I can learn how to say and, like, understand in Japanese. So many cool things, cool sentences just waiting for me to, like, put together on my own, right? I think this is kind of bad. You shouldn't really do this, but I've been adding around 15 to 20 words a day. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying that you shouldn't really try to put it in your head like, I'm going to add this fixed number of cards a day, and if I don't, I'm bad. No, just read. And like some of the words that you see, you don't even have to add. Because like I've definitely seen words multiple times enough where I just know what they mean. Even if I don't have an Anki card for it, like, or that I've never memorized it, I just kind of see it and I'm like, I've been seeing it used in all these contexts. You just kind of know, right? So there's, just because you have like 8,000 cards in your Anki deck doesn't mean you know 8,000 words. You probably know more, and that's really good. I don't think it's a numbers game. I don't think it's a like measuring your ego game. Like everyone is trying to get good or are already good, and we're all just trying hard, and that's like respectable, right? You have to kind of get out of the mentality of like, oh, there's so many words I don't know, like this is gonna take forever, and it's like, that's just that much more time for you to have fun and interact with the language. Like, it's not a race. Obviously, if I could press a button to be fluent in Japanese, like, yeah, maybe I'd do it, but like it's kind of rewarding to like, you know, learn a word and then the next day you see it in an anime you're watching, you're like, oh my god, like my studying's actually like paying off bit by bit. So yeah, just have a better mindset about it, and honestly, you're gonna get there. It doesn't matter. Every day you study, that's one day closer to, I guess, your goal. If it's fluency, if it's just being able to converse about basic things, you're one day closer. As long as you study every day, you're one day closer. That's all it is. And I mean, yeah. So I've talked about to this point my study methods, useful tools, as well as how I immerse. So yeah, that's where I am right now. In terms of my actual like reading abilities, maybe we can go through. NewsWeb Easy is it's a really nice website for I guess upper beginner or lower intermediate learner. I got kind of interested in talking about like, or I guess reading about up on kanji, and this is actually like misreadings of kanji. So this is an actual article aimed towards like, I guess, just regular Japanese people. So I'll give this a read too and see how we're doing. So yeah, okay. 読み間違いやすい漢字11選. I think that's sen. We'll come back to that. But yeah, so that guy, okay. 読み間違いやすい漢字, okay, same title again. あなたは正しく読めてますか? So I think this is seron. Let me try to like, I think these might actually be the wrong readings. I don't know, we'll find out, right? Okay, so こんにちは。トム・ローゲートのライターで、ウィンドウメディアの編集長をしているマキギです。Nice to meet you, マキギ。ライター編集長。このような肩書きですから、文章を書かない日はありません。ウェブサイトやパンフレットに書くこともあれば、企業のコンセプトとなるキャッチコピーを書くこともあれば、このウォンデメディア、このウォンドメディアの記事を書くこともあります。その日々を送っていると日本語に詳しくなるのですが、詳しくなるたびに日本語って難しいなと思うわけです。どういう時に思うのかというと、そんな読み方するのという感じに出会った時。And then, yeah. Okay, so, I mean, up to this point, I can pretty much understand this. This isn't too bad. He's just introducing himself and talking about how he has the title, even though he has this title of a writer and an editor. Yeah, because he has this title of like a writer and editor, like there's not been a single day where he hasn't written anything. He's been writing website pamphlets, writing up concepts for companies and catch copies, which I actually don't know what that is. Is that even something in English? Hold on. It might just be in English L. Advertising slogans. That's cool. Well, there you go. You learn something new every day. So yeah, writing slogans. Wondo Media. Is it just on-demand media? I see. Yeah, so I mean a few things here. But yeah, and then he's basically saying through those, like, you know, he's getting more and more I guess, I don't know how to say like kwashiku, is he's getting more like in-depth, a more in-depth understanding of like Japanese. Not in the way that he's not, because he's native. He's a native Japanese speaker. More it's like he's really like getting like understanding a lot of deeper meanings and like a wider understanding. And because of that, he's like, oh, Japanese is so, you know, he's come to think like, oh, like Japanese is so difficult. And then for like, as for like how so, he gives an example of like, oh, like for example, like, oh, there you can read it like that. Like he's found there's some times he sees kanji like that. So yeah, let's continue on a little bit. I might be able to, if I can read all this. There's a lot of text. この3つの漢字を皆さんどう読みましたか？今皆さんの頭に浮かんでいる読み方はもしかしたら間違っているかもしれません。OK、and はじめに本題に入る前に一つだけ間違った読み方として紹介するものの中には間違っているけれど現代では一般的になっているものもあります。ルール上は間違っているかもしれないけど使っても問題ないよねという読み方です。この記事はあくまで辞書に載っているような日本語のルールにも基づいて書いていきますのでそれらも間違った読み方として紹介していきます。ご了承ください。Okay, so this is just a preface basically. And within the wrong readings, even though they are wrong, they have become like generally used. Basically, it's like yes, it's technically against the rules, but if you use it, it's kind of a fine sort of yomikata or like way of reading. And then so basically, this whole article is written like very thoroughly, like to the 10th, based on like rules and stuff that appear in like Japanese dictionaries. So please enjoy. So we will introduce these like wrong readings, these misreadings. So please enjoy to the fullest. And maybe we'll read one. This is kind of fun though. I don't know. How far are we? Oh my god. We'll read. Okay, that was the preface. Maybe we get to the meat of the article. We'll read like. I might just read these 3 sections in succession, all the way to Ichiranaku, I think. Yeah, we'll just read into there. These are pretty cool. These are like the big 3 that were on the front. Okay. 読み間違いやすい漢字11選。So, 世論の正しい読み方。ニュースなどで世論調査と聞いたことがあると思いますが、世論という漢字は、単体では世論と読むのが正解とされています。世論には国民の感情から出た意見という意味があります。一方の世論は漢字で書くと世論となり、意味は議論に基づいた意見です。似ているようでニュアンスが微妙な違うんですよね。ですね。私がこれを知ったは恥ずかしながらここ1年の話、あれだけテレビで連呼ばされていたら間違いますよね。I think, you know, we'll come back to that. Okay, so 世論。This is where 世論then. 世論を使った文章。日本の政治は世論に左右されがちで。Why am I saying ですがちだ。このような不要字を世論は許さないだろう。Okay, so 早急の正しい読み方。提出物の期限が迫っている時によく登場する早急 that's my guess という言葉。早急と読んでしまいそうなところですが、正解には早急と読みます。ただ早急と読み oh my gosh, getting some 鼻水 my nose is runny。ただ早急と読み間違える人があまりにも多いため、最近では早急でも OK という Whoa. Interesting. ができてきています。Come back. That looks interesting. Okay. Well, here it is. Now I gotta know. 時代とともに移りゆく世の中の傾向。I see. Okay. So yeah, basically like it's almost like a trend, but like as time passes by, society kind of gets used to it, or it kind of acclimates to it. That's a cool word. この風潮に従うのもありだと思いますが、個人的にビジネスなどのフォーマルなシーンにおいては、雑給という読み方を採用した方がいいと思います。知的な印象を与えられていいじゃないですか。速球を使った例文。クレームが多発しており、速急な対応が求められる。And then we have 緊急会議の開催が決まり、速急に列車することとなった。And then we'll just read this last section, I think, and then I will try to translate, or I guess provide my understanding. So, 一段落の正しい読み方。一段落と読む人がほとんどではないでしょうか。違うのと思った方。そうなんです。これ実は一段落と読むのが正解なんです。Okay. I don't know. Maybe I've seen this in Anki a lot. I don't know. We'll see though. 私も初めて知ったときは本当と思わず調べました。そしたら辞書には一段落は一段落の漢字表記の読み誤りと書かれていて NHK 放送文化研究所にも同じことが書かれていました。仕事が一段落したらなんてことを言う機会は少なくないと思うので覚えておきたいところです。一段落の使った例文。仕事が一段落したおかげでゆっくり休むことができた。まだ仕事が残っているけど、この辺りで一段落。Cool. Okay. So that was fun. Let's go through these really quick. I don't actually know. I guess I explain it. So in the news, they have Yoron Chosa, which is a I don't know what Yoron is. So basically, he thought that he'd heard Yoron Chosa. He thought that he'd found basically heard of this from NHK from the news, basically for some sort of survey. Yoron. I'm gonna guess this is like. Actually, I don't know. What would Yoron be? Just how people are feeling about their own country? Yoron Chosa. 世の中一般の人々の意見。傾向をつかむために行う。Oh, okay. Yeah. So like a general. This is a very rare word. Like a general examination to get like the general public's opinion on something. Okay. と聞いたことがあると思いました。Is the kanji the same too? Yeah, yoron. Okay, but by itself. Okay, interesting. So yoron という漢字は反対ではセロン. Okay, yeah. So when it's by itself, it's actually read as seron. And basically, it's like the same meaning as the yoron. In here, it's actually the same meaning. So it's like the country citizens opinions that come from like emotion, their kanjo, or their thoughts, emotions. And then yoron, it's by itself. So seron, yeah. So yoron is kanji de kakuto. Oh, I see. Yeah, this is yeah. So this is read as seron by itself, and then yoron, the one that's actually in here. For some reason, it's written with this, but by itself, it's that. Which, I mean, yeah, yoron. So, 議論に基づいた意見. So, basically, it's an opinion formed after debate, I think, right? Yeah, okay, cool. And then they have like a very delicate or like very like this is bimyo. I love this word. It's pretty funny, but it's basically like a very slight nuance to it. Like it is very slightly different. It's kind of hard to pick out is what they're saying. でこの人の恥ずかしいながらここで1年の話ペダテレビで違います So yeah, basically, just super embarrassed because like this is like something like he didn't know this for like a whole year. He just basically went on a year's worth. I think this is like basically like after like he said a year's worth of conversations where he was just misreading, like misusing this. I actually don't know though. Can't really. 私がこれを知ったのは恥ずかしいながらこう1年の話 I mean 1年の話 Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure that's what this is. It took him like a year to kind of like figure that out. あれだテレビで Yeah, so like if it just because that was like said so many times on television, like you can get that wrong. And like these are actually like generally misread. So like this, he's basically just talking about how like because it's been said so many times on TV, like that it can lead to that sort of such a wide general misreading. Yeah. So he's just saying that the Japanese government is like swaying the general opinion. Or I guess in this case, it's like manipulating. And then this is like. The general, like, the public will not forget, will not forgive this, like, this is like I guess a scandal. Fushoji, I think I've read this wrong, but it's Fushoji. It's like, yeah, it's basically like a scandal. Probably read the definition here. Yeah, like a bit, yeah. Basically, it is used a lot to refer to any government scandals or, like, corrupt people. Okay, yeah, so... So when a like a special period comes for like selling an item, they usually this keyword is used a lot. So like a flash, I guess a flash sale, basically like a special. I don't know why my English is like messing up right now. Like it's a special limited time sale, basically. Yeah. So then this word really like pops up a lot. So yeah, you might have thought that it was read as Sokyu, but it's actually Sokyu. But Sokyu, there are a lot of people who misread it as that, so it's actually fine. It's actually become like generally accepted. Fushou, right? It's become generally accepted. It's been fine. So even though like yeah, it's pretty much fine for you to use because it's become so widespread in society. Really, when on the other hand, like individually, when it comes to like business and dealing with formalities and like being in formal scenes, you should really use sakyu. Yeah, I think it'll give off the vibe that you are smart, that you've got the wits, and you know your stuff, and that's pretty good, right? Okay, and then here's some example readings. So, so they ordered me to like deal with these response to the claims. I guess we could say the claims got like the claims came flooding in basically. Not literally. And then I was ordered to provide a immediate or very quick like dealing with it or like response. I assume that's my interpretation. Probably wrong. 緊急会議の開催が決まり it was decided that we would have an emergency meeting and we were made to leave the company very promptly. I guess promptly leave the company. I don't think this means get fired though. It's more like depart from the company building. 会社へ Oh, no, sorry. That's totally backwards. That's like to leave for work. Not leave the building, but actually go to leave for the... Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, and then the right reading to read, Ichidanraku. Yeah, basically there's actually no one who reads as Hitodanraku, and then they're like, oh, you probably thought, that's wrong. Like, he's basically talking about the people who thought that it's actually not Hitodanraku. And he's like, yeah, that's right. This is actually read as Ichidanraku. Yeah, so when he knew this, he just basically looked it up. And then in the dictionary, it's read as the dictionary says so yeah, basically hitodanraku is actually a common misreading of the kanji for ichidanraku, like a common, I guess, like almost like a switch. Like people commonly switch the kanji or miswrite it and misread it. And it's even also written in NHK by NHK's no, sorry, yeah, it's written, and this is the dictionary that it's come from is actually written by NHK's the NHK Broadcasting's cultural research facility, or whatever you want to say. And then, yeah, and so like basically he's saying that there's like a lot of opportunities to say this phrase, ichidanraku. You know, there's a lot of opportunities to say this, so it's probably good to remember this, that it's read as, you know, ichidanraku. Alright, so yeah, I'd like to do a self-introduction in Japanese, as well as talk about plans for my next video in Japanese. I'll put subtitles here, and that's mainly because my intonation and accent are like abysmal right now. I'd be impressed if even a Japanese person could understand me. So those will be there. And if you find anything wrong with, you know, any of my grammar misusages, you know, misusing a word, or if you have a more natural way of, so, you know, how I could put something, then, you know, leave it in the comments. I'd love to read through your advice and, you know, hopefully polish my Japanese. So without further ado, let's get it started. どうもこんにちは皆さん。ジャレドと申します。私はね、日本語は2年ぐらい勉強してるんですけど、全然ネイティブのように喋れないんです。例えば、なんか、特別の単語はまだ把握してないんです。もし、なんかコンピューター科学の動画を見たら、2、3割しか理解できないんです。でも一方で、そのテラスハウスとか、1週間フレンズという日常的なコンテンツを見たら、8、いや、9割理解できる場合もあります。はい。そう、なんかその問題の理由はね、その問題の理由というと、残念ながらも私はね、そのなんか見にくいやつを置いといて、いつもなんか楽に見えるやつしか見えないんです。そのガチのせいでこのもんになっちゃいました。そう、本題の問題を解ける方法は一つしかないんです。見にくいやつを見てわからない単語とか文法を保存して丸暗記として使えるようになります。じゃあ言語学をほっといて自分の趣味に語りたいと思います。はい、そう趣味はね、その筋トレをやってダイエットしたり、これはコーヒーなんですね。ダイエットしたり、自炊やります。自炊はね、自炊といえばその和食は好きです。特に和食。そう、よく味噌汁を作ります。そう、自分でその鍋に昆布と鰹節入れて蒸して、そのみんなが知ってる黄金の液体を出来上がります。出して言いますですね。で、その後はこんなのように粉じゃなくて粉のようになんか味噌ペーストを入れて自分のなんか手作りの味噌汁出来上がります。はい。じゃあ準備について以上です。じゃあ次回の動画ですね。はい。今年の12月は日本に行く予定はありますので、なんか行くの前になんか僕の日本語はどうなってるかっていう動画を作りたいと思います。あと6ヶ月の。そう、今の日本語はね、なんかめちゃくちゃごちゃごちゃっていう感じと思います。はい。例えばイントネーションはむずいと思います。特にその中高というやつ。例えばおにぎりって言います。そう、第2名のモーラーは高いですけど、その後は低くなります。おにぎり。そう、もしおにぎりって言います。それは違います。でも今は 100% 当てるかどうか分かってないんですけど、おにぎり。ちょっと調べてみる。おにぎりのアクセントはおにぎり。おにぎり。当てた。おにぎり。 そう、第2名のモラは高いでも、その後は低くなります。そう、おにぎりは当てますけど、おにぎりは当てないんです。そういう場合はいっぱいありますから、まあ、日本っぽくになりたくないっていうわけなんですけど、まあ、もっとなんか、ペラペラ外人になったらいいなと思います。でも、アクセントは、まあ、一番の弱点じゃないんです。特別であるなんか語彙はまだ豊富してないっていう問題は、それは第一名の問題です。もしなんか農業とか全部の科学についてなんか文章とかなんか Vlog を読んだら全然無理です。全然無理です。理解できる割は3ぐらいですね。3割ぐらいです。それはこんなに2年ぐらい勉強してるんだのにそんなにしか理解できないのは残念ですね。まあ今からそのあと6ヶ月はね、まあその問題を解ける方法はね、計画は、私にとって一番難しいなんか内容についてとか、アニメを読んでとか、文章を読んで、アニメを読んで、アニメを見て、なんか文章を読んで、そのなんかあちこち見たら、その理解できない単語を見たら保存して、文章もそのなんか含まれてる文章を保存して、なんかその単語をどう使ったらいいかっていうなんか漢字とかそういう理解報道になれる。今の日本語はめちゃくちゃ壊れてるね。ごめん。はい。というわけです。じゃあもしそんなことをやったら、もともとなんか合意が鍛えたいと思います。はい。というわけです。じゃあ視聴様、ここまでよく見てくれてありがとうございます。もしこの動画が役に立ったらコメント欄に書いたら私はめちゃくちゃ嬉しいです。はい。もし質問があったらもぜひコメント欄に書いたら私はできるだけ書いてみてます。はい。じゃあ次回の動画はね、私の日本語はどうなってるかっていうことについてだからね。じゃあまたあと6ヶ月。バイバイ。